IVM.
There's a quick survey to fill out on ivmpodcast.com/survey. It lets us know a little bit more about who's listening to us. And you know what? We're going to do a few prizes. So, we'll do a random drawing of maybe 10 people and we'll send you all some swag. Remember, that's ivmpodcast.com/survey where you can fill out the survey.
The creator economy has grown not just because of creators creating content, but about the ecosystem around them really evolving to helping them scale what they're doing. And in many ways, that has not just been about, people who will help them create or help them look at certain aspects of the creation process, but really people who work with them to help them to evolve and grow in what they do and what they are going to do. One person who's actually been that for the Indian creator economy is Manish Pandey. And he's also written a fabulous new book on this as well. So he's my guest this week on Advertising is Dead. And I'm going to dig into all things creator economy, not just what's happened and where we are, but really where we're going to go. But really, what does it take for someone to be a good creator, or rather more consistently good creator in the online space today? I'm Varun Duggirala, and this Advertising is Dead. Right back with Manish Pandey.
इन्फ्लेशन, फिस्कल डेफिसिट, जीडीपी, एमएसपी, एनपीए, इक्विटी मार्केट वगैरह वगैरह। दोस्तों, हमने सारे शब्द टीवी या अखबार में जरूर देखे होंगे या फिर सुने होंगे, पर हम में से कितने लोग हैं जो ये जानते हैं कि इन सब का सीधा प्रभाव पड़ता है हमारी सैलरी पर, हमारे इंक्रीमेंट पर और कमबख्त हमारे खर्चों पर। दोस्तों, मेरा नाम है अभिनव त्रिवेदी और मैं बात कर रहा हूँ इक्का दुक्का इकोनॉमी पॉडकास्ट से, जहाँ पे इस तरह के इकोनॉमिक और फाइनेंशियल टर्म्स को मैं जोड़ूंगा सीधा आपकी जेब से। हर मंगलवार एक नया एपिसोड सुने IVM पॉडकास्ट की वेबसाइट, ऐप या फिर किसी भी अन्य पॉडकास्ट प्लेटफॉर्म पर।
Welcome back to Advertising is Dead. Manish, we're finally doing this. We're having a chat. Literally, we've spoken about all ends of the creator economy, but it would not be complete without you coming in and setting the platform for what all is happening in this space.
Thank you, Varun. The platform, is great. I have been a great fan of Advertising is Dead, and I've listened, I don't know how many of them. And it's an honor to be speaking to you.
I think also this chat comes at a very interesting time, right? Obviously, there's a lot of action in this space. You wrote a really good book for anyone to understand just generally the journeys of a lot of the most prominent creators in the country, just what all of us can learn from it. So when you look at the creator economy today, where do you see it as? Is it a legitimate economy? Is it still too far from being monetized enough? Where do you see it as like today?
I think it's in its early teenage and is trying to find the adult side of it. So a lot of, like how a kid goes through a lot of changes, right, in their puberty, both male and female. It's that kind of scenario. Like even platforms are trying to figure out what is the best fit for them. Like should Instagram be photo or video? If YouTube should do long form or short, right? So a lot of, changes are going on. And on top of that, now the whole Web3 layer, right? And I was discussing to a friend of mine the other day, and he's quite deep into Web3. When we say deep into Web3, he's been there for 4-5 years, so it's considered deep as of now. So he was kind of saying that the best way to put it is Web3 is TCP/IP of the new times, and everything will have, like Varun, you remember back in 2011, 12, 13, 14, we as digital marketers, we used to call the companies and say, hey, it's essential for you to have website. After that, the time changed and we said, well, you have website, have your presence on Facebook and Twitter and other social media platforms. Instagram had not come out then. Then after we said, okay, Facebook is now passé and you can use it for your paid ads and all of that, and it's become an advertising platform and you can run your ads and this and that. I think in coming times, in 4-5 years, everybody is going to ask, what's your NFT strategy?
True.
Right? That's something that we will see.
And I think that's an interesting evolution, right? That's the whole Web 1, Web 2, Web 3. I think that's the best way to explain how this evolution has happened, what you just said. But also what's been interesting is that creators often, I think, if you even go back like 4 or 5 years, it was like you're doing this as a hobby, you have a day job, or you're in college or school, you're doing this for fun online.
Right.
And suddenly, I would say, I don't know, it was exactly around the pandemic period or just little before that, when suddenly it became a legitimate like job. Suddenly you have like kids saying, okay, I want to do this as a career. You have people who are quitting their jobs to doing it as well.
Yeah.
What do you think that point was when this shift kind of happened and people said, okay, now this is no longer like a fun thing I'm just doing on the side. It's actually a profession.
When it exactly started bringing money, right? So the ad revenue of YouTube, I mean, Instagram doesn't have one as of now. Facebook has, right?
Yeah,
so Facebook is monetized. When the money that creators started getting from brands, and that was 4 times, 5 times of ad revenue, then they thought, okay, this is a serious thing that one can do, because this is bringing more than a money which a job can get you, or maybe a small business that you will set up as an entrepreneur will get you.
Yeah.
Also, don't want to disregard the hard work, but it's a little lesser than what you would do as a full-fledged entrepreneurship, trying to figure out a company and all of that, right? Because when the kids who are killing it today, they were born with phone, if not internet, and had internet later. So they figured out how to do on their own. So you don't have to teach them anything.
Yeah.
However,
they didn't have the mental block we all had.
Right.
Yeah.
And but today I find a need that there should be a school which should teach content creation properly. Because, and the reason why I say is because what we see as the content industry as of now, as I mentioned earlier, it's just in that adolescence phase and has to be matured. So right direction is needed. I think a lot of rules and regulations will come out, right? Like I was discussing something with somebody at SEBI on a very senior position the other day, and I was saying, so how do you think, like the question was, in last 3 years finance creators have taken things in their hand and they're off the roof, everybody's growing. Scary part is 19-year-old giving financial advices that
what stocks to buy, what product to use,
right? So SEBI, the gentleman at SEBI said that they are working on it and they are making the rules very stricter. They will come with polished guidelines in which what creators can do and what creators can't do. Now, according to SEBI's rule, no financial instrument company, that means these mutual funds and stocks and whatever, they cannot use celebrities for direct endorsement. So the line was very blurry, right? The definition of celebrity was film artists and sports people. And
that's why they do mutual funds sahi hai and not necessarily saying this specific product. Right.
And so the creators were like, they had the leeway, but now they have taken a note of creators as well. So they will come up with guidelines that certain number of followers, certain number of subscribers and all, they cannot do direct thing. So I think there will be a lot of changes going on, right? Every industry, I think, will come up with their own rules and regulations, right? I'm happy to see that. I'm quite happy actually from creators that none of them have come out and started endorsing tobacco, gutka, cigarette, and alcohol. I don't know if alcohol is become yet. Sometimes I see some or the other integration of some alcohol. But I think there should be guidelines about that, and I'm very interested in seeing what the new age creators will do with this particular power in their hand. When I say new age creators, that would be the Gen Z ones, right? 1998. I mean 98 ke baad ke bache.
Correct.
So yeah. Let's see.
What you said about regulations is interesting, right? Because I think oftentimes, and I know this happened with ASCII when they came out with their regulations, and I remember that entire discussion, should it happen, should not happen, who will follow it, who will not follow it, and all that stuff. But at some point, what's also kind of happened is you suddenly, I think the evolution from, okay, I'm just doing this for fun, to, oh, I can make money from it, to, I need to then, now we've also now talking a lot more about, oh, once again, I have this creator burnout, I'm doing the consistency has become like, okay, my God, there's so much to do. And on the other end, responsibility of the fact that what you're putting out there at some point is affecting people. So the same way how celebrities, for instance, have taken responsibility for endorsing a product, creators having to do that as well. Do you feel that's almost like the adolescent becoming the adult? Because now you're talking about really like grown-up things. You're not talking about just the fun stuff anymore. You're also talking about data. You're talking about so many other things. Do you think that's where the evolutions kind of happened? Like when this kind of came in, and responsibility, I feel is the core, like almost like grown-up term to use.
Yeah, that and when you mentioned that creator burnout, right? And we are also discussing that from adolescence to becoming adult, right?
Yeah.
So your behavior and your actions also should change,
Yeah.
right? If any creator is getting burnt out, I blame that particular creator for it. Reason, a creator never thinks that, okay, this is not just one person's job anymore, and they should think of having a team. Because I've interacted with so many creators in, at least in Indian space, and the first thing that in fact, before coming here, that it's my job.
Yeah.
So, I was talking to a creator. She has 2 lakh subscribers. 2 lakh subscribers. So she does around good 70,000-80,000 YouTube revenue. But again, 4 times, 5 times of that comes through brand deals, right?
Yeah.
So she's making around 3.5-4 lakh rupees. She's 21. Varun, 21-year-old,
exactly.
4 lakh rupees.
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's
Right?
why we all want to be creators. I'm like, damn it, I wish it was
Right.
there when I was 21.
And she's like, Bhaiya, I'm burnt out. I don't know what to do and this and that. And I'm like, chill. I said, who shoots the video? Me. Who edits the video? Me. Who writes the video? Me. Who puts the video? Me. I said, you cannot be doing all of this on your own and say you're burnt out.
Yeah.
I say, tomorrow you might not just even get ideas because you do art and, painting and all of that. You might not even get ideas what next to do.
Yeah.
So I said, let us structure the team. And like, usme to paise kharch honge. And I said, you're making money.
Yeah.
And, and the problem is, there is nobody to kind of guide them that this paise kharch honge is reinvesting in making their own craft better and better, and which will compound and get you more wealth.
Yeah.
Right? With some of the creators, the ones who covered in the book and all, they've figured it out, and that's why they are in the book, because they work as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They no more just YouTuber or Instagrammer or anything like that.
Yeah.
Right? So this has to be kind of educated and told.
Do you also think that evolution of, because I've seen 2 kinds of creators come out, right? On one end, you have someone like, let's say, a Bhuvan or a Prajakta, etc., who kind of gone more the artist roots, where they're obviously, they're performers now in their own right. They're in movies, they're building their own series. And the other side are people who are building businesses around it and doing, and well, obviously for a Bhuvan and Prajakta, business obviously is a core of focus, but here it's literally an entrepreneur thing, like can I build a company, etc.
Yeah.
Do you see these as being the 2 directions that creators will go in, either go as artists or go into this, or do you think that it's not even a different route, it's the same thing?
It would be genre to genre, right? Like when you take example of Bhuvan and Prajakta, or for that matter Be Unique or Yashraj Mukhate and all of these guys, right? Yeah. These guys are entertainers. So the path that they would take would be that, because they are more confident in doing what they have done on YouTube in front of a small camera and millions of audience, but online, not live audience. However, it will be really, really interesting to see these guys take the stage and entertain, which they do also. No,
now they're all doing that.
Yeah, they have their fan fest also, which happens. YouTube does that, and all of that. Social Nation also happened, I think. Same kind of arena.
Similar,
right. So that would be really, really interesting. It would be really interesting to see some entertainer like Bhuvan and Nick and Ashish to see maybe in a mainstream movie or a Netflix. Yeah. I think Prajakta did some Netflix.
Yeah. I think she's also in a movie which is coming out soon as well, if I remember right. Yeah.
So that's like a fresh perspective, fresh face, you know. And is it threat to the film industry? I don't know.
Definitely is, right? Because if you see it, and this was actually going to be my next thing from this, is that if you see it, so many celebrities are now pretty much doing what all creators do, right?
Yeah.
They all have teams.
Yeah.
They're shooting content. They're not just sharing images of themselves. They're actually creating edits, and there is they're almost creating for camera. Yeah. You will take many celebrities who maybe might not be getting as many numbers doing their movies or shows, but they get a lot more by just having a larger following online.
I don't know if anybody paid attention, but Deepika Padukone's Instagram is amazing.
It's outstanding.
Yeah. And her reels, her color palette, the way the font is used, the way the caption is written, it's professionalism written all over it. Exactly. So it's not her doing.
Yeah,
there is a team doing that.
Yeah, and it's built to basically take all the things you can learn from the creator space and saying how do you take that, scale it up, because obviously she'll be able to build a more you'd say, because generally you would try to do bootstrap. Here I don't think she'll have to bootstrap. She can get the best possible team in, and it's showing in just the quality of content. I agree 100%.
Right, and on top of that, I think it's no more an option. whoever, right? Any space. If you are making money by putting yourself out there in front of public, and if you're trying to entertain, I think your Instagram, your YouTube is no more an option. It is your distribution platform.
Exactly.
I will not be surprised. And I was just talking to a friend of mine. He's a CTO and co-founder of a very big tech company. I mean, it's $1 billion company. And we were discussing, we were brainstorming about a few things, and he wanted to understand this whole content area and all of that, because they said that, Manish, we have around 400 crore of marketing budget, but we don't know how to do, so we are scared. So we want to like kind of figure it out. Do we hire a brand ambassador, or do we this, that? And he was discussing with me and saying, okay, let us together carve it out and see what's the best possible way. And then we discussed of an algorithm, because he said, what will be my ROI, right? I said, okay, get this creator, this many followers, this many. He said, okay, what's the ROI and all of that? He said, and he's a tech guy, right? He's like, is there any algorithm which tells me? Is there any, is there any tool where I can put the handle and can tell me like, this and that, where does it penetrate and all of that? Then I ran my brain, cognitive thinking parallelly, and I said, this can apply in, Bollywood and film industry also. For example, let's say Varun as an actor has 5 million, followers on Instagram versus somebody having 2 million. But let us say the 2 million one has greater engagement rate. So that means if Varun releasing a poster tomorrow and a 2 million person releasing a poster tomorrow, if the 2 million person has ability to pull more people in the theater, or direct them to subscribe for an OTT platform, maybe the 2 million one will be considered.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
It will not just be about the looks and the craft.
It's not just the numbers, it's the engagement level, how much clicks are you kind of getting in. And I think the term algorithm is interesting, right? Because I don't think before online creators kind of blew up over time, nobody tried to look at an algorithm for any kind of content. It was always driven by, okay, this is trends from before, look at data, but now it's driven by actual clicks. There's I remember the early days when I used to work in television, you get this trade magazine every week, and you look at that trade magazine to see what the numbers are, what TRP. Like I haven't heard the term TRP in so long. I just kind of feel like, kahan gaya?
You remember that? Aag laga denge, phod denge, all of that. It's going to be obsolete now. Data is going to take the space.
Right. So today when you look at the platforms, and I know that's what I think one of the core insights I've had in all our conversations, even like beyond this podcast, has been that you've been able to kind of look at the data and the algorithms and the platforms and say, as a creator, that is one of your most important things to look at, not just the content, and really drive home how that mix really works together. I mean, obviously, the content is going to eventually be a differentiator, but it's your understanding of how to mix that with the right kind of data and understanding. So when you look at the data side of it, which I know even talks about online data for creators, what have you seen as almost like if you're a creator today, you have to have your fingers into it and understand it better?
Right. That's an amazing question. Varun, I can talk about it for 8 hours. So basically, few things to keep a check, right? And let us take YouTube as a factor today, because then after YouTube, you can percolate it to other platforms, right? Yeah. So few things that to be kept in mind is when you record your content, we should keep this in mind that the world is unfortunately getting inclined towards short form of content, right? Yeah. I say unfortunate because it is unfortunate. I mean, it's feeding into your ADHD. As simple as that, right? It's giving you everything quick. 15 seconds and So I love Kavita's Kitchen, right? And I was talking to her day before yesterday, and I suddenly saw a reel of hers which says, in 30 seconds, she taught how to make some sabudana khichdi or something. And I'm like, Maggie ko bhi 2 minutes lagta tha, right? This is 30 seconds. And I called her and I was like, Didi, ye aise kaise? And she said ki nahi, wo package is tarike se maine kiya, kaisa laga? I said the content was absolutely on the point. Yeah. Now, take this. Yeah. If I have started seeing how to make sabudana khichdi in 30 seconds, do you think I'll watch an 80-minute video?
Yeah, you got so used to it, you will suddenly I do think we get bored much faster with YouTube videos these days.
Right. So now coming back to where the hands, fingers should be dipped, package your content very well. So while you're shooting, you have to add a hook maybe every 30 seconds, 1 minute, right? Make it interesting. The way you design your thumbnail, right? absolutely important. The colors you use, the contrast of the photo that you've used, how many texts are you using? Understand. I mean, go back to basics. Understand, what does thumbnail mean? Thumbnail is pictorial or text representation of the content in the video. Right? This is what Google says as a definition of it.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to be absolutely clear that you don't give too much information on the thumbnail, but at the same time, you are you able to
give enough
generate
to generate interest,
curiosity, so that the CTR comes, the click comes. After that, while you're when I was speaking to Bhuvan a year and a half ago, and I was looking at his YouTube analytics, and Rohit told me that okay, so do you think
Rohit Raj, who's his partner?
Yeah. So he said, do you think we're doing everything right? I said, there are no video tags, and he said, and he's like, what's video tags? And I'm like, and then I got into thought, right? I mean, Bhuvan just puts a video and he gets like millions of views, right? I mean, 20 million views, 15 million views, and those are crazy numbers. And then I like, okay, when he started, even the algorithm was not that evolved, and there were not more creators. So he'd got that push already, and that's why that push
it's continuing.
So
even if he's not using all the things you need to use, it's still moving.
And that's not just with Bhuvan, by the way. A lot of creators who started then, they still don't care.
So do you think I know the most overused term in the creator space is consistency.
Yeah.
And that's the one point everybody struggles with.
Yeah.
You have heard my own struggles with it too many times over the last many months. But when you look at the consistency factor, do you feel that's the only way, or can you as a creator say, no, 1 second, I will come once every 3 months, I will give one, like almost a season of my videos? Because this conversation, right, should eventually YouTubers go to building seasonal content, take breaks, come back with, and so really work on it, like how you would look at movies or this thing? Or is that something the algorithm will never really allow?
No, that's not the case, Varun. So first of all, the answer is it will matter from genre to genre. Right?
Again, yeah.
Somebody like you or Ankur and all, you will have to show up
all the time,
every week, maybe twice a week, thrice a week, right? Yeah. See, like Ashish, for that matter, Ashish Chanchalani, we're talking about, right? Or Bhuvan, for that matter. They'll drop one video a month, right? And and it's high production, and there is a lot of fun element, and so obviously they take a lot of time to make that particular content. It is not easy to it's like filmmaking, totally like filmmaking.
Exactly,
right? But then they have been, the consistency there is they are 8-year-old on YouTube, so they have been there since that age. So the definition of consistency for them is different, and a definition of consistency for a person who's starting now, or maybe who started last year, is different. Right? Last year also the pandemic played a factor, because people were at home and they were on the phone or internet all the time.
And numbers have gone down now because people are getting out.
Correct. Right? As I was saying that the technical creators are getting hard time, right? I was discussing with somebody today in the morning also, and I was I said, okay, give me some time.
So people are talking about tech, talking about, let's say, any of the gadgets, etc. Okay.
Yeah, the views are coming down. It's surprise. I mean, nobody is able to crack the code. Maybe because there is nothing much after a point of time to educate in that particular thing. However, there is a one content creator within tech. I speak to him and his team very often. It's called Shlok, Tech Burner. The views not come down. Reason is because he's added the entertainment factor in it. So he plays around. He does so. For example, he does not just review a phone. He'll say, okay, come, let's assemble a robot together. Right? And then who shoots the whole thing? Let's assemble a PC together. How do you assemble a gaming PC? Then I was consulting with his team, and I said that, guys, the important information about tech is not out there. If water goes in my phone, what should I do? Where should I go? I panic.
We all go back to putting it inside a bag of rice,
which is wrong, right? Which is again wrong technically.
Doesn't help at all.
Yeah. So then they made those kind of videos in blue. And we're like, and he was like, Manish sir, where were you 3 years ago? I said, everything comes with the time. So that's how you need to evolve. So, addressing that question again, consistency, right? It has different definition for different people or different creator.
And I think what you just said is that if you don't, consistency isn't just about creating the same thing again and again. If you don't evolve the content you make, you will also get bored, and your audience also will get bored the same way I think all entertainment is. And I think that's a core thing. And what I feel also is interesting is, as this is now scaled from just, let's say, YouTube to obviously Instagram, as always, evolves to doing many things.
Yeah.
LinkedIn has now come into this game full-fledgedly pushing in through.
Right.
Then there's the entire audio side.
Audio
which
side.
Is what,
Yeah.
considering the fact that YouTube just announced, I think a few days ago, that they're going deeper into podcasting now.
Right.
Because finally, I think
Even I think Spotify tried with the green room or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Which they acquired with that live audio space
Yes.
as well. Now with so many things happening, the question I remember in the beginning, one of the things we discussed was the fact that okay, you don't just focus on one thing. Now the problem is you have too many options.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a creative today. I'm like, okay, what do I choose? I have so many things to do, which is oftentimes what you have told me, saying, can you not do so many things?
Yeah.
What is the solution for that? The opposite problem, saying don't just do one thing, but don't also do too many things.
So I think the smarter way to do is if you can, make content for one platform and repurpose and like keep submitting everywhere. You don't know what picks up where, right? You cannot ignore audio for that matter. Audio is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? One of the key examples or maybe evidence that audio will become bigger is if you see the percentage of search that YouTube gets by typing in the browse feature or by asking the voice, with the voice, right?
Yeah.
And the numbers are mind blowing.
Voice is much higher.
Voice is much higher. And so for example, in tier 2, tier 3, people have hard time typing because the typing is mostly in English, until they have the wisdom to convert their keypad into Hindi.
Yeah.
Right? So they somehow figured out that isme bologe to aa jata hai, right?
Correct.
So they figured that out and they press the mic sign. And the mic sign is very, very like, it kind of tells you subliminally that, it's
Press
for
it.
there to speak.
Yeah, exactly.
And they say that, okay, Gana bajaiye. And it plays the song, right?
Yeah.
So this is going to be interesting. The podcast scene, whatever we see in our country today, India and Indian subcontinent, I think it's just starting.
Yeah, very early
It's not
days.
even penetrated yet, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be big again.
Yeah.
So I think the guys who would win will be one who will evolve and one who quickly make their teams and repurpose their content and are there everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So with that, I mean, a lot of exclusivity will come. Platforms will try and come, and as you have seen, right, Spotify has made a lot of podcasters and song also, music people also exclusive and all of that.
Yeah.
So all that war is going to happen. I mean,
I have a ton more to ask you, and I also want to ask you how you even got into this space.
Yeah.
But I know we need to take a break. I've gotten a signal a few times subliminally from my producer. So I'm going to do that and be right back with Advertising is Dead.
A wise man once said, traveling, it makes you speechless, then turns you into a storyteller.
Well, listen to such travel stories and experiences exploring India on the Musafir Stories with us, Saif and Faiza.
Catch us on the IVM website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Welcome back to Advertising is Dead. We're still talking to Manish. How did you get into the creator economy space? I've always been intrigued to know where this began for you from the creator side. Obviously, your journey, I think, across the board has, I think that's a book. That's not even a podcast. But I feel that I want to also kind of get how you even got into this space.
Before I realized I was deep in it. So let me actually tell it today. So when I was in Bangalore in 2015, I used to do social media for my living. So design social media strategy for brands and all. And somehow I was, I got a chance to work with brands like IVM, your jeans company, that Gas. And then I worked with, Diageo, that liquor company.
Yeah.
And then motors started, kind of coming out and doing things. So I did work with Nissan and all of that. Now, influencer marketing was not a word then.
Yeah.
It was not a coined term, but we used to do a lot of Twitter trending.
Of course. We all did lots of Twitter trending.
Right.
Why is the brand's hashtag not trended?
Exactly.
Okay, we'll make it trend. Oh my God, I remember those days.
I feel like a mafia now.
Yeah. It was so like... I think that also, like, if you look at how unregulated that was, and even none of us knew what was right to do, not right to do. You'd always think, okay, there's a gray line, let's walk on that line.
And I designed an algorithm for that also. Like how many tweets to do, how many minutes.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah. How many tweets to do in a minute from different IP and web versus phone and all and how fast it would trend. So all these guys who we used to do these things, we used to actually like challenge each other कि मैं आज जल्दी trend करके दिखाऊंगा तेरे को, and I'll trend only with 500 tweets, right? So we used to do all of the challenges, right? And it was mathematical, so it was fun. I used to do all of that, right? Trend hashtags for brands, do a blogger engagement program, take them to parties and make them drink, and all of that. That was a part of my job. So I used to do all of that. Then I came to Reliance. When I came to Reliance, my core job became coaching people how to use social media. So I used to coach VPs and CEOs and those kind of people, and how do they make their own personal brand and this and that, because the entire last 4-5 years was about social media,
of course.
So me coming to this content creator industry, the entire credit goes to Ranveer Allahabadia. So I met him. So he had come for a TEDx Bandra talk. TEDx Bandra was happening, and Raghu, my ex-boss, Captain Raghu, he was also talking there. So we were his entourage. So we came, and I was sitting in the auditorium, and Ranveer was giving his talk, and he was talking about why females should go to gym. Because he was a fitness creator then, right? And he was like fully advocating that women should also go to the gym, all of that. And this is back in 2015-16 we're talking about. So, and the talk happened, and then I had a weird, eye contact that happens, right? And on the stage, Ranveer froze for a fraction of a second, and then he again started. Then after that, after the talk was done and we were having tea outside, networking time, we were just talking to each other and all, and Ranveer came running to me and he said, "Bro, can I talk to you?" And I said, "Yeah." And I also saw that a lot of kids were taking pictures with Ranveer. So I didn't know him. So I thought maybe famous guy, anybody can become famous. So I was in my avatar. I had longer hair then and all of that. And he said, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" He's like, and Ranveer, in a typical way, there's some connection between you and me.
That is such a Ranveer thing to do. It's like come up to someone and say that.
Our vibe is matching. And I'm like, okay. And then
like, how do you react to this statement like that? That is generally like.
But on a spiritual tangent, I know where it's coming from, right?
Fair enough.
So I said, okay, here's my number.
This is what I always felt about it. Like when you meet him in person, it takes you some time to realize that everybody I think has their flow. His flow is something you need to connect with to understand him, and I feel it for some people it takes time, but once you do, you totally get where he's coming from.
So I gave him my number, and I left, and he left. And then I think he kept calling me and messaging me, but I was in Jamnagar. We were doing some exercise there, and I was not able to pick his phone, and it was not saved on my phone, so I didn't know he was calling. He saved my number, I didn't. So, and then one final day, again in one of the TEDx chapters, the bigger ones, had approached him as a speaker. And he was there, and I used to be the social media advisor head for that chapter. So I went there, and I'm like, and Ranveer saw me and like, "Oh, I called you so many times." And I said, "Okay, we'll talk." And we were doing his entire talk thing and all, and he was not really connecting. And I told Ranveer, "I think you're not in it. You don't want to do this talk." He said, "Yeah, how do you know?" I said, I sensed it. So I said, "Can you pull me out of this?" I said, "Yeah, 100%. And he's like, "Say upfront that you don't want to do this." And he said, yeah, I don't want to do it. And then we kept talking. Then I heard him, and then I suggested, okay, you need some grounding. I mean, there's too much unchannelized energy, and you need some grounding. So I told him about some yoga, and and I suggested that you should read Autobiography of Yogi. That one book, it connects with me a lot. I suggest that you should read. He picked that book up and he started reading, and he told me, that, "Bro, you should meditate." I said, "Yeah, I've been doing since I was age 4, so cool." It was cute. So that happened, and uske baad, then I saved his number and we spoke on phone, and then he opened up saying that, he said that our industry is very toxic and this and that. I don't know. Maybe the fitness industry was very competitive.
It was, and also it was a weird stage where people were. And I remember, because that's when I'd actually started following him. I remember the first time I'd followed Ranveer on YouTube was, I was searching on something around creatine. And then he was the first video that popped up, and I was like,
Right.
who's this guy? And then he ended up just like, and that time you would just find one value giving video, you would subscribe to
Correct.
everybody, right?
Yeah.
And it kept popping up, and I remember that his evolution from that time to what he is now.
Yeah.
Because that time I could see that he was trying things, but the fitness industry was a lot
Yes.
more about, there were too many unhealthy ways to
Yeah.
look fitter
Yeah.
being peddled
Yeah.
than actual ways to do it.
Right. So then he only said that, you know, I have been eating a lot of meat all my life, and I have been on drinks and all of that, and I want to get away from it. Can you help me? And I said, okay, I'll try. And then I said that, would you follow what I would say? He said, yeah, why not? And then that's how we became brothers, right? And then I started guiding him and came out. Now Ranveer, you know how he's a hype man, right?
Yes.
So
That is,
anybody,
it's an unchanneled energy, that is like
Yeah.
literally the tagline.
and he would meet anybody and talk to them for 5 minutes, and if he finds any problem, you should talk to Manish. And my number was gone.
How do you think I met you?
Yeah, right? You should talk to Manish. Bro, you should talk to Manish. Like he made Prajakta speak to me. He made everybody who I know today
Yeah.
is all because of him.
Yeah.
So I remember very clearly. So I said, Ranveer, you give my number to, like, you know, people, and they call me and I have no context, right? And I listened to them for half an hour, and then at that time I was also doing Joe Stocks, right? So I was like, and I was heading research and hardcore 12 hours of work we used to have,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like middle of the thing, and I, you know, it felt like, bro, he's my friend, please help him out. Bro, this girl is my friend, please help her out.
Yeah.
And I would take those calls, you know. I'm still learning how to say no.
Yeah.
So that's that. So one fine day what happened is, this Cosmo event was happening in Delhi, Cosmopolitan some award thing, right?
Yeah.
And Ranveer said, you have to come. And I was like, dude, like, it's Cosmo event and everybody will be well dressed, and you know how I dress, right? And he's like, just chill about it, just wear a pair of jeans and a shirt and come, wear a shoe. And I said, okay. And I tried my best, you know, and
To fit in.
comb my hair also that day. And I went, and so in the evening, all these creators, right? All of them, like from Bhuvan to Prajakta to too many people, Sejal, Komal Pandey, and too many people, right? They were all there under one roof. And Ranveer announced it, that guys, come here. This is my brother Manish. Should talk.
Should talk to him. Now with the phone number diya tha, now it's like, here, this person, now you all run away.
You know, and what was happening, Varun, after the award thing happened, right? So everybody, whoever got award, most of them got awards, and all of that happened. And then the entertainment program is going on, and there is a satsang going on outside by me, where I'm talking about life and things at the same time, data, content, number, all of that, right? So that was happening in the Andaz Hotel's garden, right? So 20-25 of them sitting, and we were chatting. And that is how actually, you know, my number got exchanged. And then everybody, I started interacting over the times. It's been 4 years now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean.
How have you seen yourself evolve in the creative space? Because you got into it with an understanding of the data and the platforms. And also, I think even the simple part about like just giving him the book, and, you know, there is so much more in the creator economy which is human.
Yeah.
Because you are putting something you're creating out there, right? It's almost like either instant gratification or instant like, oh my God, nobody's watched this. Nobody's clicked on it. No one's liked it. I've got like 2 bad comments and stuff like that. So how have you seen yourself evolve while you worked with all of them?
I think I got very lucky, Varun, because I got too many labs to work with. So all the creators backend, right? It's a lab for me because I'm seeing different kind of data. You know, I'm seeing different patterns in different channel, right? So I'm able to derive different algorithm and, you know, write some of my hypothesis of whatever I could understand in my cognitive way, right? And try and join the dots, right? And find out solutions for everybody, right? In terms of, I think my main contribution happened on, you know, what are the different type of content people should do.
Yeah.
right? So for example, today I was talking to Anmol. RJ Anmol is just started doing his YouTube. He's married to Amrita Rao. He'll come home to meet me.
Yeah.
And
I remember he was. I remember a while back when I think we did a Twitter session, Spaces session together.
Yes,
and he was on it as well.
On it, yeah.
Yes, I remember.
He was Router Sports.
Yes, he was Router Sports one.
Yeah. So his channel is almost hit 2 lakh subscribers. And last month when I'd met him, I'd given him few like things to do and things not to do and all of that. And now he's getting like 300k, 500k views. So he was very pumped. And today he said, Manish bhai, what more topics do you think I can do? Then I said, you are talking about love and relationships. And then I said, yeah, there are plenty of things you can talk under the roof, right? And we listed down topics. And he wrote like 25, 30 topics. And he said, yeah. I said, you're done for 6 months if you make two videos on each this topic. Right? Yeah. So this one thing came, like for example, when I was talking to Shlok also, the major challenge was, किस topic पे video बनाए?
Correct.
I said there are so many topics. It's just that I think sometimes the third person perspective helps a lot. And I am that third person's perspective in most of the cases. So see, I'm not going to teach these guys production or video quality and editing. These guys are masters, right? I'm only put like third person's perspective from the content point of view, that what is missing out there. Because I do consume a lot of content. So I know that, if I have to keep subscribing to your channel, what kind of content I would like to look into. So basically whatever I want to see, I get it done from them.
So then I'm going to take this and kind of spin it around and say that as this space kind of moves ahead, what are you seeing as, and I know that you and I have a common thing of saying that short form video being the primary thing is a problem, and the long form has to come back.
But short term is going to make a lot of money in coming times.
That
we cannot ignore.
We can't ignore that for sure. What do you see as going ahead? What are going to be like primary trends for anybody who's a creator today, who they have to follow, and also like practices which they should really follow?
So there are a few things. I mean, again, the abused word, consistency has to be there. You cannot ignore, some of the hygienic factor, like while designing your thumbnail, the color that you're using, text you're using, photo has to be high contrast. Don't use black and white too much, because I've seen that the trends of black and white it doesn't really work much. Pay attention to your SEO. Average length of the video is something that you should focus on, because again, understand, right? End of the day, what are you contributing? You're contributing time. What is YouTube going to understand? Why will YouTube, and it's a common sense. It is not rocket science, right? Why will YouTube push your video? YouTube, if you are able to retain more and more people on the channel, on the video, that means you are contributing more time, right? And YouTube is time hungry, right? They want more and more, time. So if you're putting that, then the channel is going, the platform is going to help you as well, right? So that's one thing that one should keep in mind. People now are graduating on watching content, so production level of your content will be a factor. You cannot just put random unedited, unfinished, low voice, low quality. So that I think one has to get polished now. It's no more 2015-16 that whatever you will put and it will run. It will not happen. People now have graduated watching content. Also, one thing that I tell everybody, and in fact I was discussing with Rohit and Bhuvan last night also, and I said that when you started and a 13-year-old subscribed to you, that 13-year-old is today 18-year-old, and their perspective and their priority of life is changed. So if you still want them to subscribe to you, maybe you will have to make content of what they like. Like Dhindora, for that matter, was a perfect fit, right? It was a full-fledged kind of a
evolution of what people have been watching for years.
And it just appealed to all age group. Even the 13-year-old was wow, and a 28-year-old was wow, right? And so it just gave us a great package of entertainment, right? So that is something that every content creator has to understand with time. All said and done, this was for YouTube, and then Instagram also, there are certain things, the basic rules remains the same. People should not ignore platforms like Twitter and LinkedIn for that matter.
I agree.
It's absolutely important, right? And you know why there are less creators on on Twitter? than any other platform, because you
It's
have to,
written.
yeah, it's written, and you have to be really smart, right? You cannot just, I mean, imagine.
Which also brings me to the biggest problem on Twitter is that the amount of copy paste of somebody else's tweet, just changing a few words, is so high.
Yeah.
But you eventually do. I mean, how long can you do that also?
But the other day I was speaking to Raj Shamani, and he very nicely mentioned that, Manish sir, eventually everything is copy.
That's true.
And I said, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong in saying this, because there is no discovery, right? I mean, every book I think is rewritten.
Yeah.
Right? All the books also we read is almost rewritten.
So maybe copy well, maybe.
Copied well. What do you call it? Inspired by.
Inspired by.
Yeah.
Especially the point you just said about just like how age groups, how people are evolving. I think the creative space is evolving, but I think more than more I see this, and like as I read the book, as I went through, I mean, obviously, the offline chats, beyond recorded chats that you and I had, the need that creators really have is to have people working around them. So there's obviously a huge opportunity for someone to have a job working as, and not just an editor or someone working on camera or sound for a creator, but really working on data analytics to really be able to manage business operations. Do you see that as being this big scaling side in the creator space?
Yes. You will really see that there will be a lot of schools coming up for all these, qualities, or what you call skills, right? So, for example, Varun, if you see, and as I said, I was talking to a tech friend of mine, and he said, Manish, we are always hiring good techies.
Yeah.
And it's parallel to our industry, right? We are always hiring a good graphic designer, a good copywriter, and a good video editor.
Yeah.
We are always hiring them. Yeah. Everybody wants them. So where are these guys? What is the definition of a good graphic designer, right? Or a nice, or a nice video editor, right? That means there always is upgrade, right? That means this itself is going to open, I think, billion dollar of job opportunity and all of that.
Yeah.
So in today's time, as I said in Raj's podcast as well, right? If you have internet and if you're not doing anything, it's you are the one to be blamed.
You literally have the most opportunities any generations had. Right. Like I can't even remember when.
Right.
I don't think there's ever been this much opportunity at in literally your fingertips.
Yeah. So I was talking to Sanket. He has a company called InVideo. And I was talking to ex-Joestock colleague of mine. His name is Vedant, and he's building a company called Video.ai. They're trying to automate video editing, which is quite interesting to see, right?
Yeah.
And then when I did deep dive and I said, okay, production level, this, that, and he said, Ki Manish sir, we understand that this is right now serving a certain purpose. And I said, you know what? It is serving more than the purpose. Like, for example, a content creator who is starting right now, who does not have affordability,
to hire an editor,
can subscribe to your software, as and use it. And it is like how we use Canva. Right. Yeah. I mean, I and you, I don't know if you know Photoshop or not. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Very bad.
Right.
I was supposed to know it. I had a module in college. Terrible.
Exactly. But Canva is like plug and play and put words together and it's bingo, right?
It's like how some people became podcasters in the pandemic because everybody was recording online.
Yeah.
Suddenly, if you knew how to do Zoom, you could talk, you could do it. Obviously, sound quality, visual quality were parameters, but it suddenly opened up, okay, I can do it this way as well. And suddenly a bunch of tech platforms, cheaper mic options, everything kind of came up. So I think that sometimes in these scenarios, opportunities really kind of blown up.
Right. I mean, who would know that streams would be a thing, right?
Yeah.
And now people are just playing chess or whatever game and they're streaming.
I can't get over chess streaming. It is I think the first person who told me about chess streaming was Amit Verma, and I felt like this is an Amit Verma thing to tell me that chess streaming is a thing. Then I saw now crosswords are happening. I saw Rohan Joshi and Sahil Shah do crosswords the other day on streaming. I'm like, everything is literally being streamed and people are there.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
I mean, I remember playing online Ludo with Rohit and Bhuvan and Omkar and all in the lockdown, right?
I was just going to say, I wonder what I will stream about, but I could sense that you will throw something at me from the other side of this recording, saying stop doing more things.
No way. I mean, come on.
But and I think this is a good point because you and I can keep doing this again. And I've realized off late that some conversations require a part 2 at some point of time. So we will hold that for another one. But I want to bring us to the last segment of the show, right? Which is when I ask my guests a lot of random questions, trying to figure out how to kind of mold this up for you. But What do you spend a lot of time doing outside of working with, I would say, the country's top creators and doing so many things that you do? What is your favorite pastime?
I do read books and I sit quietly. So I like sitting quietly because that's the time when I think most of the calculations in the brain happens, and you get ideas. So I really enjoy solace. Like I enjoy. I think the most joyous time for me is where I'm alone.
But like sit quietly for how long?
I can sit for hours, like 8 hours, 9 hours, right? I can do
This
that.
I have to learn.
Yeah. Okay, so
I do like 5,
it's
10
weird.
minutes.
Okay, I'll tell you something. After the second wave of COVID, which was brutal for all of us, right, for the entire world, and we went through our own things, right. And I did work in COVID resources, and I was out there doing a lot of stuff. It took a toll on me, right. I thought it will not take a toll on me because I'm very sorted in my head, but it did. So I went to Goa with Ranveer and everybody. It was a holiday kind of a thing. These guys came back. I didn't. I said that, okay, I'm going to put myself in solace. So what I did was a little crazy. It's not advised. Nobody should do it. I locked myself in a room for 21 days. And 21 days, I had not consumed any content. Neither I spoke to anybody. No phone calls.
So 21-day Vipassana of sorts.
Yeah. No phone calls, no phone, no watching TV, no Netflix, no nothing, no books, no nothing.
Just food.
Just fruits. I was mostly on fruits, and I used to eat some salt in 3 days, 4 days, right? Order a dosa sometime, order idli sometime and all. And I did that. And I think I came back strong. And if I would have not done that, I would have gone crazy, I guess. I would have maybe would have taken some wrong decisions here and there. So.
It's actually interesting.
Yeah.
I've always wondered about silence, right? It's one of the toughest things for us to do, especially in the modern world. And
and technically it's never silent because your mind speaks so much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to shut that mind up all the time. So it takes around good 6 to 7 hours to go to that state of silence.
No. What are the books you've read recently that you've really resounded with you?
So I read yours.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Out of Syllabus is everybody should read that book. It's great. I'll not reveal the content, so please go buy and read. I read very interesting Against My Personality book. So I'm trying to read fiction. I want to read fiction. Read a lot of non-fictions. I want to read fiction now. But before that, I read the Robert Greene's 48 Power.
I think we're all going through a Robert Greene phase, right?
Yeah.
It is bizarre to read Robert Greene.
And I've read all the Chanakya books, right? And you see that it's so I think Robert Greene has read Chanakya and he's read
Art of War.
Greek philosophy, Art of War by Sun Tzu and all, and he's mixed all of that and he's written something for the Western world. So everything that's written by Robert Greene is very cutthroat and it sounds very evil. But when we read between the lines, he's just said, hey, survival of the fittest, and you have to do this to survive.
Yeah, lots of insights in there.
Yeah. So thick book. So I did take some time to finish that. I finally finished it.
And what are you reading in fiction?
I picked up Light. So I have picked up this book called Asura. And I'm trying to read that. It bends towards a little bit of history, mythology. So I thought I'll start from there, but I am looking for fiction recommendations actually from people.
And I haven't read fiction in a while. I was thinking of recommending, but I'm just trying to think when is the last time I read a fiction book. Maybe I should also read fiction. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I'll close off by asking you, and it seems like an obvious question, but I should still ask you, is why will the creator economy not die?
Well, because evolution will happen. And one more reason is now people have taken things in their hand. So, very interesting. Okay. And I like going back to the history. Imagine, like Varun, it's a fact that whatever we are using today was all discovered in World War I and World War II, mostly in that era. After that, no discovery happened.
That's true.
Right? Look, we had a 50 years of no discovery, 50, 60 years of no discovery. And now I think discovery is happening again. And the kids of today have taken it in their hand to discover new things. I think Web3 is one of those discoveries, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is why it will not die, because you will see more of innovators coming in time. So I think we are heading in a nicer time, more intelligent time. We'll be fossils. Yeah.
Yeah. I only feel like a fossil half the time. But thanks a ton, Manish. Thanks for doing this. This is as always. I'm happy we could bring conversations I've had. I think many of these pieces we've spoken about in person beyond the recording, but I think there's always a ton of insights for everyone to kind of dig into across not just the creator economy and the creator side, but really as individuals, what do you focus on? I'm going to talk to you offline about this whole silence thing.
Yeah.
5 minutes, my average time. 5-10 minutes I can do. I've always joked that if you ever send me to Vipassana, I might be that guy who's jumping the wall to run away after like half a day. But I'm definitely going to chat with you about that. But thanks again for coming on the podcast.
As long as there is a team that vlogs it and it becomes a content.
Yes, now that's an idea, right? Yeah. I went to Vipassana for 21 days and ran away in 21 minutes. That is the best YouTube video.
Yeah.
But thanks again, Manish. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Varun. I mean, it's an honor to be on your podcast. Yeah.
If you like this podcast and you want to listen to more podcasts like this, head over to the IVM Podcast website or app or wherever you get your podcast from and look at all the podcasts that IVM makes. There's some really fun stuff there.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On The Habit Coach, Ashton meets Devangana Mishra. She is the CEO and founder of Brain Bristle. And this Autism Awareness Month, they discuss how we can understand autism better. The Simplified hosts ponder over how form dictates content, whether it's going from CDs to streaming or blogs to Twitter. On Voices for Water, Karthik talks to Dr. Veena Srinivasan. She is the lead of the Center for Social and Environmental Innovation. They deep dive into the importance of investing in water waste treatment. On Say No to Drama, Chetna tells us why work friends are essential and how they influence our overall performance. And on All Things Policy, the Takshashila folk analyze the implications of China's genetic resource guidelines. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Also, don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms you're listening to us on, including the one you're listening to us on now. And also, please do check us out on YouTube. We have a number of channels. They're all available on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. We're also doing a small listener survey to help us understand you, the listener, better, and how you like our shows, how you respond to the advertising, and so on. We'd really appreciate it if you could spare a few minutes to fill it out. It's at ivmpodcast.com/survey. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, SBI Life Insurance, India Water Portal, and Jupiter, a digital banking app. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Are you looking for finance products and services that can enhance your personal finance experience? Are you looking for a space to talk about your financial product or service? And are you looking for a crisp talk show where the conversation is all about money? Well, your search ends here. Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta and I'm host of the Paisa Vaisa podcast, and I invite you for the conversation about your personal finance on each Monday on the IVM Podcast app or the website or on any podcast streaming platforms. See you folks.